Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MTG Place podcast. I am Corey, your host. I'm joined today by James. Introduce yourself, James.
Hi, I'm James. I've been Magic the Gathering player since 2002, I think. So it was 7th edition was when I started playing. So I've been playing it off and on for quite a while and definitely enjoy it.
All right, so today we're going to do a set review of Innistrad Midnight Hunt. We're just going to go through the rares and mythics today. Yeah, so let's just jump into it. The first card is the Planeswalker Arlen. It's 2 and a red-green for a Planeswalker with Daybound, which is if a player casts no spells during their turn, it becomes night the next turn. And so you track when it comes in, if it's not day, it becomes day. And then if someone casts 2 spells, or if someone doesn't cast 2 spells, so if they cast no spells, it flips to night. And then if they cast 2 spells when it's night, it comes back to day, and then you just flip the back and forth depending on that. So it's +1, because with 4 loyalty, it has +1. Till your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So that's not bad. And then -3, create 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. And then the night side is 4 loyalty and has +2. You add a green and a red mana, and for 0, it turns into a 5/5 werewolf with trample indestructible haste.
All right. Definitely some lovely creature-based deck synergy going on with this card, which I am personally very much a creature deck kind of player. So this is pretty good for certain things, especially that 0 ability. Kind of reminds me of Gideon from way back when.
Yes, Gideon was a sweet Planeswalker. Yeah, that's kind of, the night side is kind of cool with the 0 become a 5/5. But I also think the front side's better. Just the fact that you're able to create a bunch of wolf tokens, like with doubling season or something. You're coming in with 8 loyalty, and then you can immediately just create 4 tokens. Like, seems good.
And the freaking +1/+1 counters are also very, very nice.
Right, yeah, and so that's good with doubling season too.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, a pretty solid card, and it only costs 4, which is pretty much the magic number in Magic the Gathering, because as we all remember, Jace the Mind Sculptor was 4. And that card was OP. Will it be like, a busted card that's going to be played in like Modern or something? Probably not, but I could definitely see it in Commander for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely going to be in Commander with doubling season, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I could see this being in my red-green deck. So the next card we have is called Bloodthirsty Adversary. It is 1 and a red. It is a 2/2, a vampire creature, which has haste, and when Bloodthirsty Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a red any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many +1/+1 counters on Bloodthirsty Adversary. Then exile up to that many target instant and or sorcery cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard and copy them. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana costs. Okay, there's a lot going on with this card.
Yeah, so it works kind of in vampire decks just as like 2 for a 2/2 haster, which is cool. But you could also, I also like that you can, like multi-kick it basically when it enters the battlefield.
Essentially, yeah.
But it lets you copy anything that you basically played in like a Sunforger style deck. Stuff that costs 3 or less. You just can cast them all for free.
This definitely has a lot of burst potential to it if it has the right deck built around it. So this could be pretty dangerous, and it is a very low cost, which is pretty great.
Yeah, I could see it being okay in like a red-white aggro modern deck or something, and you like Lightning Helix, and then you play this, and you flash back to Lightning Helix to deal damage and gaining life, and then you get to a swing with like a 3/3. That's pretty good.
That's definitely not bad. I mean, it's really a pretty low utility card as far as like the mana cost, the CMC, and everything. So definitely some combos could be played with this.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's going to be a standard vampire archetype with this card, probably.
Oh, for sure. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be the driving force of something like that.
All right, the next card is Consuming Blob. It is 3 green. Creature Ooze. Consuming Blob's power and toughness is equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard, and toughness is equal to that number +1. So it's a 5 mana Tarmogoyf, and at the beginning of your end step, you create a green Ooze creature token with this creature's power and toughness is equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard, and the toughness is equal to that number +1. So it's a 5 mana Tarmogoyf that at your end step you get another Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, that's pretty nice in any kind of creature deck if you can afford it, because 5 is kind of high, but definitely powerful.
Yeah, definitely a commander. If you're playing a deck that runs Goif already, this might be all right. But like, I can't see it being in like any constructed format because like you would just play Goif in like Legacy.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Like this is obviously a good bomb in like Sealed or something like that, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, Sealed or like a big green deck maybe.
Yeah, maybe a big green like standard deck. But yeah, it's too expensive otherwise. And for what it does, it's just yeah, it's powerful, but not like there's better things you can do for 5 mana for sure.
Right.
We'll move on to the next card we have here, which is Enduring Angel. It is 2 white, so 5 total. Angel creature, a 3/3. It has a lot of text. It has flying and double strike, and you, as in the player, have hexproof. Those are always fun. If your life total would be reduced to 0 or less, instead transform Enduring Angel and your life total becomes 3. Then if Enduring Angel didn't transform this way, you lose the game. Okay, interesting. So then the transform side is a star creature that's still an angel, that has flying, and it still says you have hexproof. And then Angelic Enforcer's power and toughness are each equal to your life total. Whenever Angelic Enforcer attacks, double your life total. Very interesting.
Yeah, it seems really good in a life gain deck. If you're playing like mono white angels or something,
Yeah.
like Platinum Angel, except for like if you would die, you just transform this and you're at 3.
Right. Yeah.
And then you can keep gaining your life back when you attack, which is if you have like gain life triggers, you're just going to gain a lot. It kind of sucks it's not legendary, so it can't be your commander.
This would be a sick commander. Otherwise.
Yeah, but like it's sweet just as a regular angel in a deck, and it has double strike, so that's good. But the backside does not, so the backside's going to be huge already.
Yeah, but you don't. It doesn't need to be.
And that dumb clause that if it didn't transform this way, you lose the game. That's only there in case you like clone it or something.
Right.
And then if for some reason you go less than 3 life, it can't transform because it doesn't have the backside, so you just lose.
Right.
Because there was some like weird mechanical issue with Garruk and someone cloning it on like Arena that broke the game because it infinitely tried to transform. And so now they added the text that like if it can't transform, you just lose.
Makes sense. That's Wizards covering their asses right there is what that is. Which is good and bad, I guess. Like you can't go bonkers with it, which is too bad. But still very good in like a white weenie or like a white life gain deck for sure. I could see this being played in standard at least. If not, maybe commander if you have the right kind of white deck.
I definitely think it would go in like an Aloro deck where you're constantly gaining life anyways.
Definitely.
Like just in case you were going to lose, and if you don't, it's still like, you know, a 3/3 flying double strike hexproof.
Exactly, which is still
That's pretty good.
That's a lot of text on a card that, I mean, it costs 5, yes, but still pretty solid.
So the next one is land, and it's called Hostile.
I like that
one. Spelled both the ways. Hostile.
Nice planned words.
Yeah, so it's a land with tap at a waste. And then it has pay 1, tap, sacrifice a creature, put a soul counter on hostile. Then if there are 3 or more soul counters on it, remove those counters and transform it. Then untap it, activate this ability only as a sorcery. And then it transforms into a 3/7 Creeping In. It's an artifact creature horror construct. And whenever Creeping In attacks, you exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creature cards exiled with Creeping In. And then for 4, it phases out. It's a 3/7.
That phasing is definitely interesting. Little Teferi action there or something like that.
Yeah, so basically it's you're going to, because you can only activate it once a turn, right? And you can only do it as a sorcery. So you're going to play this land, sacrifice 3 creatures, and pay 3 mana. So it's going to take you 3 turns to do that. But then you're going to have 3 cards in your creature cards in your graveyard, presumably. And then you're going to be able to start attacking with this and exiling a card under this. And every time you exile a card, so the first turn, each opponent's going to lose 1 life, you're going to gain 1. The next time you attack with it, they're going to lose 2 life, you're going to gain 2. Next turn, they're going to lose 3 life, you're going to gain 3, because the number of creatures exiled is going to keep growing every time you attack.
Exactly.
And then if for some reason they try and remove it, you could pay 4, and then you just treat it like it doesn't exist. And then when it comes back, it's still going to be the Creeping In, like the transform side.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty powerful.
Which it's pretty good just as a land. Like you could just throw this into any fucking aristocrat's commander deck. Like why the hell not?
I mean, it adds 1.
Yeah, and even it needs
nice.
a sack outlet, and like if you happen to flip it, sweet. It sucks you can't do it as an instant, so you can't like block then sack something.
Yeah. Hey,
But like it's still pretty
though.
good. Like yeah, like if you just have like something you want to die laying around.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being played in certain situations. It definitely has a lot of potential to it. All right, so next up we have Intrepid Adversary. It is a 1 white to play. It is a human scout creature. It is a 3/1 with lifelink, and when Intrepid Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 white any number of times. So it's another multi. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many Valor counters on Intrepid Adversary. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Valor counter on Intrepid Adversary. Oh my god, this is so good for like any creature deck ever.
Yeah, basically, like this is already like one of the best cards in White Weenie and Standard, and it's going to be just nuts in like a token deck. Like you could put this in your wrist deck, and like if you could pay that kicker like 3 times, everything getting 3/3 is super good.
Which in wrist, as long as you have like Cradle out, you always can. So
right, like then it's just how many white mana do you have?
Yeah, it's pretty much what it comes down to. Yeah, like this card just it's basically a crazy mirror entity. It just makes your field gigantic, and it's a win con pretty much in a card.
Right, and like worst case you can't even kick it, and it's still 2 for a 3/1 lifelink.
Right, which is still a great utility cost.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, you know, most of the time you're probably not going to play this for a bajillion unless it's a super late game, like, and then you win with it. But say you play it in the mid game and you have like 4 mana, that's still you got a 4/2 lifelink, and all your stuff gets +1/+1.
Exactly. Yeah, that seems very, very good. Definitely tons of utility and opportunities with this card.
All right, so the next card is Gerund, Corrupted Bishop. It's 2 and a black for a 2/3 legendary creature human cleric. When Gerund enters the battlefield or another non-token human you control dies, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 white human creature token. And then it has you could pay 2, target human you control gains lifelink until end of turn. And then it has the beginning of your end step, if you have exactly 13 life, you could pay 4 black, so 6 mana to transform it. And it transforms into a 6/6 legendary creature demon with flying, trample, lifelink, sacrifice another creature, draw a card.
Yeah, interesting flavor text there for sure. I like the play on 13.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you're going to flip this, at least in Commander. Maybe in Standard or something.
Standard, as I could see it happening, although still rather difficult to do. Commander, that's never going to happen, though.
Yeah, because you have to have exactly 13 at the end of your turn. I mean, the fact is, I mean, if you were lower than 13, it won't be that hard because you can just give lifelink. But if you're above 13, like it's going to be like if you're ahead in the game, it's going to be hard. It could be interesting though, just to have him as a commander and just play like a human tribal deck, because whenever any of them dies, you're going to get another human to replace it. So that's not bad. And then if you somehow happen to flip it, you're going to be able to draw a bajillion cards.
Right. Drawing cards is good, for sure.
So it's okay. I don't think it's great, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of funny more than anything.
Yeah, if you for some reason play a Triskaidekaphobia deck, this will be good in that.
Exactly, yeah, which I don't know if many of those exist, but it's a thing.
Someone listening, make this card work in Commander where you could always flip it, and let me know how you do it.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I feel like that'd be a hard order, though, but it's possible. Next up, we have Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. It is 3 blue to play. It is a 3/4 legendary creature that is a human wizard. Spells can't be countered. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. So just a crazy Snapcaster Mage, basically.
Yeah, except for it gives everything always in your graveyard flashback as long as it's in play. This is like, if you're a commander, this is like just your deck is now a flashback deck. Without even needing that commander that does stuff for playing flashback cards. You could play this in that deck. It's also nice to have spells can't be countered. The only issue is if you play it as a commander, mono blue 5 mana is hard to get to sometimes. Like to be able to cast this and something else in the same turn. Like you might be tapping out to cast this and then hoping it lives around a time around the table for you to get it. So you got to hope you have Force of Will in your hand or something.
Well, and blue has plenty of ways it can protect itself with, to be fair. And also just the spells can't be countered thing is, that kind of protects itself in a way.
So anything you cast once it's in play can't be countered.
Yeah.
So they can't counter your counters or anything. Or any creatures that you play after, or anything you play after loses out. So that's good in general. Like I could see this being thrown into like a multicolor deck too if you just don't want your shit countered.
So this is if you're like me and you're tired of playing against blue decks that has a 15 billion counter spells in it.
Yeah, so you can use it multiple ways. You can use it like that, or you can use it just to play your shit in your graveyard a lot. But it's been done before. It's just like a better version of some stuff that's already out there.
Right, yeah. High CMC though, and also for the utility you get, but interesting card for sure.
So the next card is Lord of the Forsaken. It's 4 black for a 6/6 flying trample. Pay a black, sacrifice another creature. Target player mills 3 cards. Pay a life, add a waste. Spend this mana only to cast spells from your graveyard.
So 6 for a 6/6, not bad with flying and trample. I feel like those are 2 kind of unusual keywords for black.
I mean, there's demons that have that though. Like it's not that unusual for a demon. Like I think Lord of the Pit has that.
That's fair, yeah.
But I mean, the sacrifice, it's a sack outlet if you're playing an aristocrat decks already. You get to mill yourself, but you're got to play. So then you're either playing self mill intentionally so that you can play shit from your graveyard to be able to use the other effect too. Like, so then you're playing like something black, like some color and black to mill your own shit. So like it's probably gonna be green black. And I don't know how much stuff where the waste is gonna matter to get stuff from your graveyard.
Unless you're doing like Eldrazi or something, but I don't know.
Well, and most Eldrazi, like the good ones, shuffle into your deck. So like,
right, yeah. So it wouldn't even really work for most of them.
I don't think it's that good. I mean, it's a big demon, but there's better demons out there.
Oh, for sure. Especially for 6 mana.
I'm sure someone's going to comment now and be like, oh, this is the best demon ever. I'm like, all right, tell me why then.
Yeah. Please show your work. Next up, we have Moonville Regent. It is a 3 and 1 red to play. It is a dragon creature that is a 4/4 with flying. Whenever you cast a spell, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each card of that spell's colors. When Moonville Regent dies, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. Okay, so sunburst action / LED and a creature. Some interesting things here.
So I don't know. I mean, this is good. So this is good if you have like 1 card in your hand, right? Because you have this out, you cast, a green dragon's your only card, and then sure, I'll discard my hand to draw 1 card. Otherwise, I guess if you played like I guess in like Dragon, you could cast this for 3 mana, and then you'd have to, and then cast your commander, which is going to cost you like 10 mana or some shit, and then you draw 5 cards if you discard your hand. So I don't know if that's even worth it. I think the better thing is it's basically a 4 for a 4/4 flying that when it dies you can deal max 5 damage.
Yeah.
Minimum 1 damage is the majority of the time, but occasionally you might need to get cards in your hand.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think more times than not that's going to hurt you more than help you as far as milling not discarding yourself. So
I wish it was discard 1 card instead of discard your hand. It's kind of annoying.
The fact that it's discard your hand is brutal for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some stupid combos out there with it, but
there always
for 4 mana 4/4. Like I'm not going to put it in my dragon deck.
Yeah, it is better dragons for sure.
All right, next we got Poppet Stitcher. It's 2 and a blue for a 2/3 human wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. So Decayed is a new ability that it's a creature token that can't block. When it attacks, you sacrifice at the end of combat. So it's like a one-time attack token. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, so just 3 or more creature tokens, you could transform it. And it transforms into Poppet Factory, where all creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 3/3. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you can transform it back if you want.
Interesting. Okay. So this can make like say a white weenie 1/1 soldier token deck better.
Yes. So the backside, you can make everything a 3/3. So it's good with just a shitload of tokens. Like you could literally cast this in like just some sort of blue-black or blue-white token deck or something, and then have it flip on your next turn, and then all of them are 3/3s. But, I mean, most of the time you're probably going to be like, all right, cast this, cast a couple spells, make 3 zombies, and instead of attacking to have them be sacrificed, I'm just going to go to my next turn, flip this, and now they're 3/3s that don't have Decayed anymore because they lose their ability.
Right, yeah, it makes them better.
So it's good, but I mean, there's better stuff, but it's decent. I think there's a decent use case for it.
For sure, yeah. I mean, especially in Standard, I could see it being played.
It's also nice that it's blue. It's a blue card that creates tokens, so if you want to play a blue token deck. Like, honestly, this could be okay in my Talrand deck because I could just play this, and the next turn, all my flyers are 3/3s.
Right.
Except for it doesn't have flying, so then there's 3/3s without flying. So I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Better just get flyers at that point.
Minimal use for sure.
I do like that you can switch it back though. So if they like kill all your tokens when this is an artifact, you can flip it back and then start making more tokens.
Right. Otherwise, you'd just be stuck there. So that's good. All right. Next up, we have Primal Adversary. It is 2 and a green to play. It is a 4/3 wolf creature with trample. And when Primal Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 in green any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many +1/+1 counters on Primal Adversary. Then put up to that many target lands you control. Then up to that many target lands you control become 3/3 wolf creatures with haste that are still lands.
So another freaking good ass green card. So basically you pay 3 and then you kick it however many times. Like, this would even be good in your wrist deck. But so you just kick it a shit ton, this becomes really big, and then all of your lands can turn into 3/3s.
Yep.
And they're all wolves if you for some reason are playing wolf tribal.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Because that deck has a lot of lands. And yeah.
And then it says trample. So like even at worst case it's 3 for a 4/3 trampler.
Right, which is still really good. For sure. Definitely lots of potential with this card in many different cases, I feel.
Definitely a decent card. Let's see, Sigarda, Champion of Light is next. It's 1 green, white for a legendary creature angel. It's a 4/4. So it's the new Sigarda. So it's a 4/4 flying trample. Humans you control get +1/+1. And then Coven, which is whenever Sigarda attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a human creature card from among them and put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom in a random order.
Okay, that's nice.
So this could be interesting as a commander, and you play human tribal.
Yep, I could see that for sure.
And then just whenever you swing, as long as you have 3 dudes out. I mean, assuming they're not all 1/1s or something, because they have 3 different powers.
Right. Yeah, which in Commander, that's easy to do.
Right, and then you just swing, flip up cards, hopefully I hit a human.
Yep. Which if you're a human deck, it's pretty likely you will.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap too, like us 4. So
yeah, that's a good cost.
Like again, worst case it's 4 for a 4/4 flying trample.
Yeah,
and it pumps any humans you have.
Which is still really, really good. Definitely. Yeah, I Sigarda always has been a good creature in all the other sets, and this is really no different here. Lots that you can do with it. And I could see this, being played in many things. So very, very good card. Next up, we have Sigardian Savior. It is 3 white for a 3/3 angel creature with flying. And when Sigardian Savior enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return up to 2 target creature cards with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's kind of like a less good sun giant or sun titan.
Yeah, kinda. Or it's like a better Revlark.
Oh yeah, or a better Revlark, right? Yeah,
stick in between. Sense.
Yeah,
5 for a 3/3 that brings 2 things back isn't bad. Right. Oh, it has to be creatures. That kind of sucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sun Titans.
I wish you could bring back like Smoldering with this.
Exactly. That's always good.
It's not bad though. It's a decent angel. I could see it being played.
Yeah, this could be definitely played like an angel deck or something like that, or some kind of white, even like a white weenie deck or something like that, because you have like a lot of low costing stuff that it has like good utility per se. this would be a good way to bring things back after they die. So definitely good in certain scenarios for sure.
So the next card is Spectral Adversary. It's 1 and a blue for a 2/1 creature spirit with flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield, you can pay 1 and a blue any number of times, so like multi-kick when it ETBs. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on it. Then, up to that many other target artifacts, creatures, and or enchantments phase out.
Okay, so another kind of Teferi thing going on here. So that's good if you're getting targeted a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of like an instant speed protect. I think the most common use case for this is going to be you pay 4 mana, and you make this 4 mana 3/2 flyer that you flash in to protect one of your things.
Yeah, like if you have like your win con out or something that you don't want to kill.
But I'd still rather just play like Teferi's Protection if I was playing blue-white. But if you're playing mono-blue,
exactly.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it'd be good for mono-blue since you couldn't play that card.
But I mean, you probably have counter spells that cost 3. There might be a use for it.
Very possible.
It's playable.
Definitely playable.
It's probably going to be definitely a budget-friendly card, I think, for protection.
Yeah, because there's obviously better protection cards than this, but not bad, though, for sure. Next off, we have Sunstreak Phoenix. It is 2 red for a 4/2 Phoenix creature with flying. If it's neither day or night, it becomes day as Sunstreak Phoenix enters the battlefield. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you may pay 1 red. If you do, return Sunstreak Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's another Phoenix that keeps coming back, like all the Phoenixes.
Yep.
It's a 4/2 flying. It's pretty good. I wish it had haste. If it had haste, this would be really good.
Yeah, it's definitely a cheaper one because I feel like a lot of the Phoenixes were more expensive than 4 CMC. From what I remember.
A lot around between 4 and 6, I think.
Yeah, I thought 6.
There's a couple that are 4 recently, but
okay, yeah. Interesting with the Innistrad day-night cycle deal they got going on. So very interesting in Standard. Outside of Standard, though, I don't know how much play this is going to get.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a Phoenix deck, because if any card references the day, basically you have to track it for the rest of the game. So this is the only card in your deck that has that. You have to keep track of that. Everyone has to keep track of that, which is going to be annoying. And then, But when it does switch, you could, bring it back for 2 mana, which is pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. 2 to bring something back is definitely not bad.
Our next card, we got Tainted Adversary. It's 1 and a black for a 2/3 Death Touch. When Tainted, it's a zombie. When Tainted Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a black any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on it, then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie tokens with Decayed.
Okay, so zombie token deck, anybody?
Yeah, zombie tokens. This is another great card. Pretty much all of these that have to pay a bunch of costs are good.
Yeah, all the adversaries have been pretty good.
Yeah, it's like at the floor, it's 2 for a 2/3 Death Touch, which is good. Yeah.
It's basically a Nighthawk without flying.
And for 5 mana, it's 2 for a 4 or 2 for a 3/4 Death Touch that makes 2 2/2s.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think just paying it once is good.
Yeah, paying it once I'd say is pretty optimal. Yeah, very, very good in like a black token deck or like a black zombie deck. I could see this played in many things like that for sure.
Yeah, and those decayed zombies, it's just more sack outlets to feed to your, Ashnod's altar to get more mana.
Ashnod's, exactly. Yeah, or if you have Kakusho out, it's
or Skull Clamp, or Skull Clamp. Yeah, -1 or -2.
-2, I believe, or is it -1? I can't remember.
Maybe
-1 or -2.
Yeah. Either way, it's pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a very good card. Lots of potential for sure. Next up, we have another Planeswalker. We have Teferi, who slows the sunset. It is 2 white-blue, obviously legendary Planeswalker named Teferi, with 4 loyalty counters. His +1 ability, choose up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 target creature, and up to 1 target land. Untap the chosen permanents you control. Tap the chosen permanents you don't control. You gain 2 life. -2. look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And his ultimate -7, you get an emblem with untap all permanents you control during each opponent's untap step. And you draw a card during each opponent's draw step. Wow, there's a lot here.
Yeah, so the ultimate is fucking busted, obviously.
That is so busted.
Especially in like Commander something, just being able to untap and draw a card every single turn. Seems good.
Seems very
Seems
good.
really good.
So you got Seedborn Muse, and you got like what's it that lets you draw cards every turn?
I don't even remember, but yeah. But the +1 is kind of interesting because it's either untap your thing, untap up to 3 of your things if you have an artifact, creature, or inland, or tap down your opponent's things. They do get to untap though, so it's just like kind of. You can
so it's not detain.
Tap them down to attack, or you can untap your stuff. I think you're more likely going to use it to untap your stuff.
For sure, yeah.
And then gain life. And the -2 isn't bad. It's you get to put a card into your hand, so it's like draw a card, basically. But you look at the top 3, so it's choose the best of the 3.
Yeah, so it's like scry 3, basically. Yeah, that's not bad. And also, again, it costs the magic 4, so not a high cost. And the 4 loyalty counters, you only need 3 turns to hit 7, so very doable in most games.
Yeah, this is going to be...
Hit that, you're just set.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those cards that, like, when I play against it, I'm going to see the +1, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. Yeah, I don't really care. And then when it gets close to the 7, I'm like, shit, I got to attack that.
That needs to die. For sure. Another good Teferi. And it's all these Planeswalkers have been very, like, well costed. Like, they're not insanely, like, high, which is what happens a lot. So, yeah, lots of potential here.
So the next card is the Meathook Massacre. So it's X black, legendary enchantment. When the Meathook Massacre enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you gain a life. So this card is just fucking busted. Okay.
This card has black written all over it.
First of all, I want this in my black deck because this is literally like a better toxic. It's like a toxic deluge, but I also am getting and gaining life forever because the enchantment stays. I always have those constant effects.
Yeah, this is busted. Holy crap!
This is like this card is the second most expensive card in the set, and the next card that we're going to read is the most expensive card in the set. And like you know why this card is just busted in Commander, and it only costs 2 and X. Like
what is that CMC? Like this has so much potential. Like I'm gonna make it cost 20.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, you pay like 4 mana into this, and like if someone has a bunch of tokens, you're just gonna wipe all their tokens, and you're gonna gain a shit ton of life.
Oh yeah, this is like a token killer right here. Like if anyone has a token deck, you just play this and you win.
And best case, you're gonna board wipe the best thing, so you play it for like 7 mana, and you -5 everything, kill everything, and then all your opponents are gonna lose life for every creature you add, and you're gonna gain life for everyone they add.
Yeah,
super good, especially in a 4-player game because you're gonna gain a shitload of life.
And then this in Commander is just, oh god, if someone plays this, it's game over pretty much.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, this is by far like one of the best cards we've come across so far. All right, so next up we have another Planeswalker, Wrenn and 7. It is a 3 green legendary Planeswalker named Wrenn with 5 loyalty counters, and oh dear god, it has 4 abilities. Here we go. So that's why it's the most expensive card right there. +1, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all land cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. 0, put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. -3, create a green treefolk creature token with reach, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. And his ultimate -8, return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. What is this card? Oh my god.
It's fucking busted is what it is. Like, first of all, the ultimate, like that's just absurd. You're probably never even going to need that.
No. Like, well, first of all, like, it's a blue ability, no max hand size. That's not a green ability, which is kind of funny. And then you also turn all permanents from your graveyard.
Well, and so what's even more funny is the last Ren was Ren in 6.
Yeah.
And now it's like he evolved. He's Ren in 7, and he's only green. He cares only about lands. And like, so the +1, you get to flip up 4 cards off the top and put all lands in your hand. That's good. And you're milling anything that's not a land. So especially in like landfall decks or something, this is nuts. In standard, this is really nuts. Because it's okay, get all these lands into my hand, and then for 0, you mana rush all the lands in your hand on the battlefield. You could have a whole fistful of lands. And they're just so turn 5, you just play all the lands from your hand, get them all out of there. So you +1, all those lands are now in play. And then the -3, you make a token with reach that's equal to the number of lands you control. So just that token is going to be huge.
Like this whole card,
like just when you play this, if you -3 whatever, you have at least a 5/5 with reach off of that.
Yeah, exactly. Holy hell! What like this card just drives itself. Like everything synergizes way too well.
Yeah, it itself can win you the game. Like it's value city. This card is so good.
This is so much value. This is more value than Riss. Like that's saying something because Riss is a crazy value. Holy God. Good. Yeah, I can see why that's the most expensive card in the set. That's
it's insanity. Do you need lands? Sweet, let's play them all.
Here's all of them.
Let's make tokens. God forbid you have doubling season. You could alt this on turn 1.
Oh my God.
or you could make 2 tokens right away on turn 1.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it only it's 5, which is a little above what you want.
I honestly think this is better than remember the green Nisa that was really busted in standard.
Yeah, I do remember.
I think this is better than that.
Oh, definitely. Like that, I mean, that was a good card, but this is just like beyond. This is just insanity. Like, oh my God. Yep, we're definitely going to see this one played and probably be on standard. Just saying.
All right, now we're moving on to the end of the mythics. Now we're into rares. Next one is Adeline Resplendent Cathar. It's 1 white for a star 4 legendary human knight with vigilance. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. And whenever you attack, for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control.
Oh my, okay. So this is like a better version of a hero, basically.
Or Myriad. It's like similar, like a shittier version of Myriad.
Yeah.
But so I think this is sweet in Commander because you could just play, okay, I play this, I attack, and now I have 3 tokens.
Yep.
That seems good.
Definitely good in any like white token deck.
It's definitely good in your wrist deck.
Oh, it's so good. Like I have Hero in my wrist deck, and Hero is busted in that deck, and this is even better.
Yeah, and this is like so you play for 3, and you're like, okay, I have 2 tokens out, whatever. This is a 3/4 or a 4/4, and then you attack, and you get 3 more, and now it's a 7/4.
Yeah, it just gets so big. And the thing is, Hero of Bleho costs 4 too, so this costs less.
Yeah, it's good. It's
very good. This is a good card for sure. Lots of value here.
It's about time White got some good cards again.
For sure. Next up, we have Angel Fire Ignition. It is a 1 red-white sorcery. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It gains Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Indestructible, and Haste until end of turn. Flashback 2 red-white. Wow, that's a lot of keywords right there.
Yeah, I wish this was an instant.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It is good otherwise, though.
It's still good. Like, it's 3 for basically +2/+2, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Indestructible, Haste. So it's good. It's a good pump spell. I don't know if it's going to see a lot of play. It could. If you're doing 1/1 counters, it could matter. Because like after one turn, if it's not like a game-winning turn, I guess you can do it 2 turns because you can flash it back.
Yeah, the flashback's nice. It is a little expensive for what it is, and the fact that it's only a sorcery kind of sucks. But it's decent. I can, this could maybe be a commander card, maybe like a budget card per se. But yeah, I don't know how much we're going to see it, though.
Yeah, because unless you're hitting something really big with this, I don't think it's going to be... I mean, you have to have something else out just to make this worth it. So whatever you play that you're putting the 1/1 counters on, you'd have to have played before this or at the same time as...
Yeah, you either have to have a lot of mana or you have to set up and hope that whatever you have doesn't die.
Right.
So
it's just kind of slow.
Yeah, slow card, but decent, lots of keywords.
Next card is Augur of Autumn. It is 1 green for a 2/3 human druid. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play land cards from the top of your library. That's sweet. And then, as long as you have Coven, which is 3 or more creatures with different powers, you can cast creatures off the top.
That's a lot of doing things off the top of your library.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards like this already. I think this is cheaper than most of them because it only costs 3.
Yeah,
but you
3 is pretty cheap.
You do need the... Oh, I guess so the first part is basically like Courser's better.
Yeah.
But if you get the Coven, then this becomes better than Courser. So
for sure. If you have the right scenario, a pretty good card for sure. But there are other cards that do similar things to this that may be better because they're not as situational, basically. Especially in Standard, could definitely see play. And maybe some play outside of it if it's, if you have the right kind of deck for it. Next up, we have Bloodline Culling. It is 1 black for an instant. And you choose one. Either target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn, or creature tokens get -2/-2 until end of turn. Wow, hate card.
Yeah, so this is interesting because it's basically the front. So the target creature -1/-5, it's like Dismember, right?
Yeah.
And then the tokens get -2/-2 is like Massacre.
Yeah.
So it's do you want to Dismember or Massacre? It's nice that it's flexible. I don't know if for Commander, I was debating about, but I don't know if -5/-5 is enough. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good anti-token. It's very good anti-token.
It is very good for token decks.
And it's good in Standard for sure. I don't know. Yeah. If any format, I mean, maybe Modern. I mean, guess Tron is not going to help.
No.
It definitely could be Goyf, though.
Certain decks, it would be very good against, for sure.
Dismember would still be better in that scenario because you could pay life instead of
exactly
black.
Paying the life is... That's what Modern is all about, is paying life, right?
So, yeah. It's good. It's flexible, but I think it needs to be a little bit better to be playable. I think if it was -7 for the first part,
that hits more things.
It would be very good.
Definitely good for Standard though, and maybe certain situations in Commander. But
yeah, if your buddy's got a token deck that keeps beating you, it's going to be very good against that.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably about it as far as this card's concerned.
All right, next we got Briarbridge Tracker, which is 2 and a green for a 2/3 human scout with vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, you investigate. So it's you make a clue token that you can sacrifice to draw a card. And as long as you have a token in play, it gets +2/+0. So if you have any token in play at all, it doesn't even have to be the clue token. It's a 4/3 for 3 in vigilance.
Not bad.
I think it's an all-around solid card, especially in a token deck if you need something to draw. If you have a way to populate, I think it's pretty good in a populate deck because you could or some way that you can copy tokens to copy your clue tokens. I don't know if you could populate clues. But if you have a way to copy clue tokens, this could be really good because you can draw cards.
There are ways to do that for sure. I can't think of them right now.
It's definitely decent though in a token deck because if you need a filler spot, because 3 for a 4/3 vigilance at worst, because you could just have a 1/1 out.
Yep.
And it's just 3 for a 4/3.
Not bad for sure. Definitely good in Standard. Definitely good in token decks for sure. And yeah. Getting clues is never a bad thing because drawing cards is always good. I mean, that's just kind of the thing in Magic. I could definitely see it being played a little bit at least. Next up, we have Brutal Cathar. It is 2 white for a 2/2 human soldier werewolf creature. When this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. That's his daybound side. Nightbound side, he becomes a red 3/3 werewolf creature with first strike and ward, pay 3 life.
So this is interesting. So I believe how this works is when you play it, you exile something under this, and then when it flips, that card's going to come back because that's leaving play or not?
I don't think the card technically leaves play.
Because then you get it again when it transforms.
It says whenever this creature enters the battlefield, it transforms into it. So enters or transforms, you exile target creature. But when you transform it, it doesn't leave the battlefield, I'm pretty sure. That's only if it's either exiled or destroyed. I don't think when it's transformed, it leaves. It just changes what it is, technically. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that it's just you have to kill it or exile it. I think.
But then in that case, then you would want to just keep changing it from day to night, and you can exile the whole board.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot going on here. Definitely good for removal, especially if you're flipping day and night a lot, because I'm pretty sure from what I can see is you exile something every single time it flips or it enters. Definitely good for removal. Lots of removal can happen here.
It's O-ring on a stick and switches into a 3/3 first striker.
Yeah, very interesting. Definitely seeing it played in at least standard, if not beyond. So
yeah, it's a decent card.
Yeah.
Let's see. Burn down the house is next. 3 red, sorcery, choose one. Burn down the house deals 5 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Or the other option is create 3 1/1 red devil creature tokens with, when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. They gain haste until end of turn. I don't know if the value is here. 5 for 5 damage to everything is not the greatest.
It's really not.
Because you could just play a different board wipe and make 3 tokens with when it dies, deal 1 damage. Like, there's other ways to make tokens. And there's that one commander that just makes those devils like all the time.
Right. I don't know. I don't see this being played that much. It's very... I mean, the main thing you'd be doing with this would be the damage, and there's better things that deal damage than this.
Yeah, I mean, you could take out a lot of planeswalkers maybe if you want to hate planeswalkers.
Yeah, if you're going at Super Friends, maybe, I guess.
Or I guess if you have a lot of indestructible shit, you could one-sided board wipe. Or if you have enraged stuff, but it's very situational. It's a lot of work to make this even decent, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's just don't play it.
I don't see this being played. I honestly am kind of surprised it's a rare. This seems like more like an uncommon tier card, in my opinion. Next up, we have Can't Stay Away. It is white-black sorcery. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains, if this creature would die, exile it instead. And then flashback 3 white-black.
That's good.
Definitely.
It's a cheaper Burial Rites, except for you can only do stuff 3 or less than versus any card. But the fact you can flash it back is good because, 2 mana, get something back is good. And then later in the game, you can pay 5 to get it back again if you have nothing else to do. Sucks that your creature exiles afterwards, but it's still good.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, what was that? Was that Goryo's Vengeance that made it?
Yeah.
Exile, or if you had to sack.
Well, that made it exile at end of turn. This just exiles if it would die. So, like, you still get it until it's killed.
Yeah, right.
You just can't bring it back again with the flashback, basically.
Yeah.
You're just going to get the creature back, and then you get another creature back later, but it has to be 3 or less. So I like the first cast of it. I don't know. The flashback is just like whatever if you need it.
It's a pretty high-cost flashback.
Yeah.
Decent first play for sure.
It could be interesting if you're building, a 3 CMC or less matters, a black-white deck. This could be pretty good. All right, the next card is Champion of the Perished. So it's 1 black for a 1/1 zombie with whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Champion of the Perished.
Okay, so just your basic zombie token deck card right here.
Yeah, so just, it's like the other champion for white humans, except for this is for zombies. So this is just a really good zombie. Like, if you have a zombie tribal deck, this is going in it. Because 1 mana. Why wouldn't it go in there? I mean, 1 mana, 1/1 with the potential to be a lot bigger if they don't deal with it.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, it's 1 for a 1/1. You can't go wrong with that. And then he's just going to get bigger. Definitely, it's a target that your opponent is eventually going to have to deal with. So, definitely, nice zombie-based card. Next up, we have Croaking Counterpart. It is 1 green-blue for sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target non-frog creature, except it's a 1/1 green frog. And then flashback 3 green-blue. So it's like a clone, but it's
a 1/1.
But it's a 1/1, yeah. And it's a frog.
So it's just like what would you want to clone as a 1/1?
Yeah, so definitely good for something that has like a good ability.
Like this is good in like an ETB effect. Like in 5 color, this might be alright because you could clone like your dragon. Like in my dragon deck, right? I could clone the dragon that one of our dragon comes into play, deals damage. So I could clone that. That'd be pretty good as a 1/1.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a really good effect, or you could clone like a Grave Titan or a Sun Titan.
Yeah,
be pretty good.
And that or like Tristani or something like that.
But outside of that, I don't think it's seeing much play. If it's going to see play, I think it's more in Commander than anything else.
Yeah, it's just another way to clone something. That's pretty much all it is. Probably not going to see it much in Standard because I don't know how much targets that we have that are good for that. So,
All right, so the next card is Cursive Leeches. 2 and a black for a enchantment or a curse. So curses are back. Enchant a player.
Yep.
As this permanent transforms into Curse of Leeches, attach it to a player. Okay, well, it is when you play it. The beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, they lose a life and you gain a life, and it has Daybound. Okay, so if it switches to night, it'll transform. And if it switches to night, it transforms into a 4/4 lifelinker. So that's interesting. So
okay, so
at nighttime, you have a 4/4 lifelinker, and then daytime, you're draining the opponent for a life and you gain a life.
Right.
It's not bad.
So it's a baby leech and then becomes a big boy.
Yeah, that becomes a big leech.
Pretty much. Definitely, a typical black card from what I can see here. It's fine. It's cheap.
It's fine. I think it's definitely playable if you have a curse deck. If you're the guy that went out and made a whole deck of curses, it's pretty good. Otherwise, I don't know how playable it is and just as like a random black card. Like 1 life, who gives a shit? But like the 4/4 lifelinker is decent.
4/4 lifelinker for 3. It's definitely nice. So yeah, in a curse deck, I could see it. Outside of that, I don't know. Probably not as much. Next up, we have we've reached the curse part of the of the set. We have Curse of Shaken Faith. It's 1 red for or a curse enchantment. It's enchant player, and whenever enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn or copies a spell, Curse of Shaken Faith deals 2 damage to them.
So this seems very good to me against Storm.
Yep. I have Mitch comes to mind right away.
Yeah, the Calamax deck. This just beats that
goddamn copy deck. Oh my god.
That lightning butt Calamax deck. This just beats it. Outside of against those 2 scenarios, I don't see it being super great.
No.
Again, it's okay in a curse. It's okay in a curse deck again. But it's definitely sideboardable for Storm and copy.
It's good for Storm, pretty much. That's about it. It's a sideboard card, if anything.
Next we got Curse of the Silence. 1 white for enchant player. This Curse of the Silence enters the battlefield. Choose a card. Spells with the chosen name enchanted player casts cost 2 more to cast, and whenever enchanted player casts a spell with the chosen name, you may sacrifice Curse of Silence to draw a card.
So, okay, hate card.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm thinking if this is good enough to play in like Death and Taxes.
Yeah,
because Revoker is just better, right? Like,
yeah, the fact that it costs 1 is nice, but
I guess in Commander it's decent too. You could pay 1 to tax someone's commander 2 more, like add a commander tax, and then if they play it, you get to draw a card.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's just okay. It's white draw though, so if you're playing mono white, it might be useful just to draw the 1 card.
Right.
I
don't think it would be good enough for like D&T, but
I don't know if it's good enough.
It's good.
I'd rather it say they just can't play that card.
Exactly. That's the thing, because this is only like a one-time thing, basically.
Yeah. So it's just like it's basically going to be 1 for they have to pay 2 more mana to play something, and then you get to draw a card and the scouts.
Yeah. So I'd much rather just play like Pithing Needle or Revoker or something like that, just to make them not be able to play it at all. That's just better. So next up, we have Curse of Surveillance, which is 4 and 1 blue for an curse aura that's an enchantment. It's enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, any number of target players other than that player each draw cards equal to the number of curses attached to that player. Okay, then.
So I think this is good in a curse deck, obviously, because you just choose only yourself and you draw F ton of cards.
You draw all the cards.
So it's like the blue Shrine of Curses. It also could be decent in like a group hug deck because you enchant somebody and then everybody but that 1 guy you can make draw.
Exactly.
It could also be okay if you had like like Nekusar is probably too expensive because like you're making everyone just draw 1 for 5 mana every turn.
Yeah, it's not.
But like if you had some other curse that's worth putting in the deck, you get to make it be 2 or 3. It might be worth it. Because realistically, you want to get like 2-3 cards around for this to be worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a very high CMC, so making that worth it is gonna be a challenge, I think.
I mean, 2-headed giant, it's decent, I guess, because if you get 2 cards, you and your partner get a card.
Exactly.
Otherwise, outside of the specific curse deck, I don't see it being played much.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, next card is Denic Pious Apprentice, which is a blue and a white. For a 2/3 lifelink, cards in graveyards can't be the targets of spells or abilities. And then it has Disturbed, which means if it dies, you can cast it from your graveyard for 2 white blue, and it comes back as the Transform side. The Transform side is a 3/2 legendary creature Spirit Soldier with flying that whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, or put into graveyards, so any graveyard, from anywhere, investigate. This ability triggers once each turn, so you get a clue token. And then if this would die, you exile it.
Okay. Very cheap cost for what it does.
I think it's pretty good for a 2/3 lifelinker that just shuts off being able to bring back creatures is pretty good.
Right. So it's like a rest in peace, basically, in a way. Well, without it being exiled.
It's kind of like a Grafdigger's Cage, I guess.
Cage. Yeah, that's better.
And then when it dies, it comes back as a 3/2 that gets you clue tokens with flying.
Yeah, and hey, as I said, drawing cards is always good.
And you can play this as a commander.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is legendary. Sure.
So that would be pretty interesting as a commander, actually, because you could play 2. You could play 2 for a 2/3 lifelinker, right? And then it goes to the graveyard. You pay 4 mana, and you have a 3/2 flyer.
Well, and
then you get clues, and then when it dies, it gets exiled. But then you can choose to put it back in the command zone, and then play it for 4 as the 2/3 side again.
So it's like a Derevi or whatever it is, where you always just pay it for 4.
Well, no, because you can play it from the graveyard for that.
Oh, it's only the graveyard.
So the first time it's going to be 2, then the next time you just serve for 4, and then it's from the graveyard, and then it's going to die. I get exiled. Go to the command zone. Cost 4 for a 2/3, and then it's going to die, and then cost 4 again, and then it's going to die, and then it'll cost 6.
So every other time it'll cost 4. Which is still not bad. Definitely
I don't know if it's worth that though. Like
I don't know either.
Or 2/3 lifelink and a 3/2 flyer.
It'd be interesting to kind of. It'd be interesting to kind of mess around with it, but I don't know if it would be like good per se. Interesting card though. I kind of like what it does and everything.
Yeah, it's definitely graveyard heat if you need that in a blue-white deck.
Which, I mean, white is already a color that can deal with the graveyard usually.
Right. If you're playing a human or spirit deck, this could be all right too. Just because it does flip into a spirit, so if you have anything that buffs spirits.
Which that would be nice too. Outside of maybe a specific deck type like that, or a specific, commander with those kind of cards around it, I don't know if you're going to play it much, but
I do think this would be, interesting as a commander. It won't be super powerful, I don't think, but it'd be interesting. So, if you have someone that's they're always really good, super high, builds everything to the highest power level, I challenge you to build this card to the highest power level possible, and it's probably still not going to be above a 7 or 8 in power level. It's not going to be CEDH level.
No, you're not going to have a crazy, top tier commander deck with this, but it could be fun. I don't know. Interesting card, I think. So next up, we have a dual land. It is called Deserted Beach. It is blue-white, and Deserted Beach enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands, and you tap it for either a white or blue mana.
So this is just the opposite of those ones that come in tapped. If you have less than 2.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the aggro lands from
now you want it to draw this to be your third land. So I think these are better than those, in my opinion, because most of the time you're going to play this as your third land.
Yeah, these are way more likely to not be tapped.
I like them. It's a good dual land because it doesn't have to be tapped.
I always thought those aggro lands were kind of dumb because they were
my guess
so many times of the year.
Yeah, my guess is these will stick around the $3 to $5 range, like all the other duels like this.
Yeah, definitely, another way to play white, blue, and commander or something. So, yeah, I'll definitely probably see it around. It doesn't hurt you. It, has a pretty easy untap ability. So, yeah, I think we'll probably see this.
All right, next card is Dire Strain Rampage. 1 red, green. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. If a land was destroyed this way, its controller may search the library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Otherwise, its controller may search the library for 1 basic land card, put on the battlefield, then shuffle, and then it has flashback. So the destroying an artifact or enchantment, I would rather just play something like 3 kill an artifact, 3 kill an enchantment, because 2 or 3 is about the cost of that. But the destroying a land, this could be, because it has flashback, this could be, like, yes, you give them 2 basics, but this could be good to get rid of, a pesky land like a Cabal Coffers, a Guy's Cradle, and you're getting rid of something that's giving them the boatloads of mana for just 2 basics.
Definitely a good specific land removal card.
Yeah,
and the fact that it has flashback.
If you're playing, I think it's only playable in like green-red decks, obviously. Because if you have more than that, you probably have other cheaper ways if you have more colors. And if you have just green, you have other ways to do it too.
Yeah, for sure. And this is
I do like you could flash it back too, though. I mean, you could also do it to yourself though too, just to bring.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like you could like destroy if you're like, say you're missing a color or something like that. You could.
Destroy your own lands.
Like a billion forests that you have. Okay, get one of and then get.
I mean, you also could do it to trigger landfall twice because you get 2 lands out of it.
Yeah, this definitely could be good in landfalls as well, which is very much a deck.
So there's definitely uses for it, but it's not the greatest.
It's very situational, like how a lot of these cards are. Could see it played in certain situations. Next up, we have the Falcon Wrath Pit Fighter, which is just 1 red for a 2/1 for a vampire warrior creature that you pay 1 and a 1 red to discard a card, sacrifice a vampire, draw 2 cards, activate only if an opponent lost life this turn. This is very good in a vampire deck, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's very good in the vampire deck because 1, especially like Edgar, because 1, you get a 1/1, and then and then you just have to swing at them. Or you get a 2/1 and a 1/1 from the Edgar. And then you pay 2 and discard a card and sacrifice your token you got created to draw 2 cards after you attack them. That's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. And the fact that it's a 2/1 for 1 is pretty good. It doesn't have haste or something like that, but still, that's a good,
But good. You are giving up a card and a creature for 2 cards. So like, yeah. You're still like netting about equal in cards, but it's still 1 for a 2/1. So like, other than the Edgar deck, I don't know if you'll see a ton of play. But I mean, in aggro decks, it's still just 1 for a 2/1.
It's a good aggro card. Yep, that's just.
And if you're like land flooded, you can pitch a land.
Yep, I could see it played in certain situations.
The next card is Fateful Absence. 1 and a white. Destroy target creature or planeswalker's controller investigates.
Yeah, it's an instant.
That's super good.
That's good. Yeah,
not as good as Swords to Plowshares or Path, but it's good because it kills planeswalkers. Kill a creature or planeswalker for just 2 mana. Instant speed. White has another good creature removal spell, and planeswalker removal now because they were a little bit hurting on planeswalker removal.
Yeah, which I mean, it's been the case for a while, so they're definitely filling that void in.
It's kind of funny because it looks like Soren getting into the coffin. And it's your Fateful Absence. Get in the coffin.
Yeah, very, very solid white removal. Not the most bonkers like the ones that are out there, but still very good. I mean, we'll see this in standard for sure, and it's another filler in like Commander or something like that. So definitely we'll see play for sure. Next up, we have Florian Valderran Scion, which is 1 black-red for a 3/3 legendary creature that's a vampire noble with first strike. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the total amount of life your opponents lost this turn. Exile 1 of those cards and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may play the exile card this turn. Not bad. For sure.
Yeah, so this is like a vampire bloodthirst deck, which is kind of what all the vampires in the set have, is that like if you dealt damage, then you can do an effect. I do like that it could be your commander and you could build your deck around, vampires and dealing damage, like super aggro if you wanted. I also think it's okay in a dedicated vampire deck just to be able to get another card if you're low on cards. And it's 3 for 3 first strike, so it's a decent card. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's probably like a B plus card.
It's
B
a good
card.
mid-level card for sure.
Yeah.
Nice ability if you have other vampires or what, or if it's just like an aggro deck in general. Yeah, I could definitely see this being played in certain decks like that.
All right, so next is Galvanic Iteration, a blue and a red for an instant. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy, and it has flashback for 1 blue-red. So another copy spell that has flashback.
Yeah,
honestly, I think it's just a worse increasing vengeance or burning, whatever it is.
Yeah, increasing vengeance is.
So
I think that's,
yeah, but if you're playing blue-red copy, yeah, that's 2 and then flashback for 4, but you get 2 copies.
Right.
So
okay.
This you get 1 copy, and then you can flash it back for another copy.
Yeah. Definitely good in like a blue copy deck or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just another way to do it. Like in Commander, we could probably see this maybe being played.
I do think there is a way to make this go infinite if you have another fork, though.
Very possible.
So, like, if you have some weird combo where you need to cast a bunch of spells, I think you can cast this to copy the fork, which copies the fork, and then flashes back to copy it again. I think there's a way you can make it go crazy nuts, but you need a lot of mana for that.
Yeah, if you have like an infinite mana combo, sure, that.
But that's the same with any fork deck. So it's just another
anything like that. You can do it crazy shit like that. Yeah, definitely has potential. It's not too expensive, so could definitely see it. Next up, we have Geistflame Reservoir. It is 2 and a red for an artifact that says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on Geistflame Reservoir. So then our 2 abilities are 1 red and tap it. Remove any number of charge counters from Geistflame Reservoir. It deals that much damage to any target. And then the other one is 1 red and tap it. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn.
It's okay. Like in a spells deck, it's all right.
Yeah,
I hate that it's a lot of mana. It's kind of clunky.
It's clunky, and the fact that you can only use it once per turn, basically.
Right.
So yeah, it's your typical like put a butt ton of counters on it and then use it at some point. But yeah, it's kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play it.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think it's gonna be played that much. Budget, maybe like a budget like spells deck, maybe it would be played, but that'd be about it.
All right, so next is Ghoul Caller's Harvest. It's a black and a green for create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed, where X is half the number of creature cards in your graveyard rounded up. And it has flashback for 3 black green.
So the flashback's kind of expensive, but the initial cost isn't bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Having played this card in like a couple times in like a limited scenario, it's not great.
Yeah. The fact that they have Decay is kind of eh.
Yeah, in Commander, if you're playing a dedicated self-mill deck or like dredge deck, you could maybe say it's worth it to get a bunch of zombie tokens, but like then you could still only attack once with them and they can't block. So I don't know. There's probably better stuff out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even probably in standard, there's probably plenty of better things that you can do with your mana. The CMC isn't bad, but it just, I don't know. Like you have to have a lot of creatures in your graveyard for it to be good.
Right, and at that point, I'd rather just play something that brings back a whole creature.
Exactly, yeah. And that doesn't have Decay.
Right.
All right, next up we have Giza Glorious Resurrector. It is 2 black for a 4/4 legendary human wizard. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Giza Glorious Resurrector onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed. Well, it was good until I read the last part.
So I actually think this is pretty good if you could protect it. especially in black, because like you play 4 for a 4/4, right? And then at the end of the last opponent's turn, just go off and cast a bunch of kill spells. And then on your upkeep, you're going to get them all into play with Decayed. So then you have one round before you can attack with them, which kind of sucks. I mean, if they have ETBs or something, because you're going to get their best creatures.
Exactly.
So hopefully they have an ETB or attack trigger. So it can be good. It's not the greatest, but it can be good. It's also if you just want to shut off a graveyard deck, like just having and you can play this as your commander and just like, all right, you're not going to play anything ever in the graveyard. Like all your creatures are going to be exiled.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not great. So yeah,
It was a bomb in limited, but other than that, yeah, I don't know.
That's about the only place.
It could be fun to build it. I'm sure there's a way. Like some people like to steal people's creatures. You could do that with it. So
stealing your opponent's creatures is always great. So, but there's better cards that do that. So I don't know. Probably won't see it that much.
So the next card is Grafted Identity. It's 2 blue. It's an additional cost to sacrifice this spell. Sacrifice a creature and enchant a creature. You control enchanted creature. Enchant creature also gets +1/+1. So the image here, the artwork here going on here looks like Face Off.
Yeah.
The movie, which is hilarious. Like Nick Cage and Travolta mixed together. I don't know if I like the fact that you have to sack a creature because you could just play, isn't there already for 4? You just gain control of an enchanted creature.
Yeah, there's cards that do this that are cheaper and don't make you sacrifice a creature to do it.
Or at least the same mana cost.
Yeah, or at least the same mana cost.
Because like the sacking a creature just to get a +1/+1 is not.
No, that's not worth it at all. I mean, if you have a token deck, sure, but if you have a token deck, why you're playing this?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I feel this card is it's at best. I'm probably not playing it in anything. So, whoops. Oh, what the heck happened? Hold on a second. I'm back. Next up we have Graveyard Trespasser. It is 2 and a black for a 3/3 creature, human werewolf creature. That has ward, discard a card. Whenever Graveyard Trespasser enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, each opponent loses a life and you gain 1 life. That's the daybound side of it. Then on the nightbound side, it's a 4/4 werewolf creature with ward, discard a card still. And whenever it's called Graveyard Glutton. Whenever Graveyard Glutton enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. For each creature card exiled this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
So I honestly think this is a pretty good card. 3 for a 3/3 or 4/4 to exile a boatload of cards from their graveyard, and you can, drain them at the same time.
Yep.
It's not a great card, but it's not a bad card. And the fact that it has ward discard a card is they have to discard a card to remove it.
Yeah, so basically they have to have a hand as well. So definitely decent. I could see this being played in certain things. Any black deck, or any kind of hippie, hypnotic scepter deck.
Yeah, definitely just like a black deck that wants to hate on graveyards is not bad.
Yeah, and also hand size too. I think if you make them not have a hand, they literally can't target this. So That's pretty nice.
All right, the next card is Hollowed Respite. It's a white and a blue for exile target non-legendary creature. Then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it entered under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Otherwise, tap it, and it has flashback for 1 white blue.
And that's a sorcery.
It kind of sucks that it's a sorcery.
Yeah, if that was an instant, that'd be really fun.
It's fine in a blink deck. Like if you're just playing like your blink deck, this is okay because you get the blink things twice. It's kind of shitty if you use it on an opponent's creature just to tap it. But
yeah, it's just like 2 to tap. It's like,
yeah, so you would rather blink your own thing, but it sucks that you can't target a legendary. So it has to be a legendary that has a non-legendary that has a good blink ability.
Right.
I mean, it's still good because like you can hit, Sun Titan and all that jazz.
And like in Brago, there's plenty of non-legendary creatures that are good too.
Yeah, but it's like, do you need another blink effect when you already have all the 1-cost white ones that do that?
Yeah, like there's like Cloud Shift and stuff that's way better than this, like, and that are instants too.
So the upside though is you can cast it twice.
Yeah, casting it twice is nice, especially in Commander. But I don't know. It seems budget maybe, but outside of that, there's better cards for sure. Next up, we have another dual land. It's called Haunted Ridge. It's red-black, and it's just like the other one. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands, and you tap it to add a black or red. So again,
good dual land.
These are good dual lands.
The next card is Jadar, Ghoulkeeper of Nephalia. 1 and a black for a 1/1 legendary creature human wizard. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. So this card I can see being good if you have a sacrifice outlet, because every single turn you'll be able to sacrifice a creature.
Yeah, that's definitely nice. Black loves sacking creatures, so definitely.
Other than that case, it's bad. But if you have a sacrifice deck, it's pretty good.
Yep. So yeah, only in a deck like that. But most black decks like that, so it could definitely see some play. Oh my gosh. Okay. Next up, we have Catilda Dawnhart Prime. It is green-white for a 1/1 human warlock legendary creature that has protection from werewolves. And then also human creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors, so green or white. And then
no, the creature the human is.
Yeah.
So like you for some reason had a red human, you could tap it for red.
Oh, it's that creature's called. Oh.
Correct.
Okay. And then 4 green white, so 6 total, and tap it. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So it's okay, but like we literally have those like little like, what were those creatures called that literally had the same ability, put a +1/+1 counter and everything that didn't cost 6?
I don't remember, but I think it's decent. I mean, the fact that you can play human tribal and have all your humans tap for mana, even if it is green-white, or you could put this in a deck that's human tribal that's all color, like if you play Morphon as your commander, and then when you get this, you could tap all your humans. The 6 put a 1/1 counter and everything is whatever. Like it's just okay. That's like the average cost for that effect, like 5 to 6 mana.
Yeah, I see that a lot. Like Gavany Township's better, and then like we literally reviewed cards earlier on that were better.
Standard, it's pretty good because it's 2 for a 1/1 mana dork that has pro werewolves, and you can pay 6 to buff your dudes. So it could be good in standard.
Pro werewolves obviously good in this set, so for sure.
The next card is Lisa, Forgotten Archangel. 2 white black for a 4/5 legendary creature angel with flying and lifelink. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. If a creature an opponent controls to die, exile it instead.
Okay.
So your stuff dies, you get it in your hand. Their stuff dies, it gets exiled.
That definitely gets around a lot of stuff, which is definitely nice. 2, 3, 4, 5. Not a bad CMC for what it does, I guess.
I think it's just okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
5 for a 4/5 flying lifelink with some sweet upside.
Yeah, good upside for sure.
As a commander, I don't see it being that great, but it could be.
That would get expensive quick if that was a commander.
But, Angel deck, it's not bad. A black-white deck, you just need a flying creature that can shut off their graveyard and get you, recur your stuff. It's not bad.
Yeah, like those definitely nice effects. Obviously it's great for indestructible cards, things like that.
It could be pretty good if you have like an Ashnod Altar or something, then a creature that costs like 1, because then you could just like, play it, sack it for mana, play it, sack, and you have infinite cast
Yeah, you just
triggers.
have
I don't know
all
if
of
you would need
the
something
mana.
else that like drains them when you play a creature, but so you do some infinite shenanigans, like a 4-card combo.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like, if it's like an ETB creature, for example, you can just keep ETBing him for
Right.
something like that. Like, definitely, has some combos with it that could be good depending on the deck. Kind of a bomb in standard, I would guess. So, we'll probably see it as a big creature for that, but yeah, it could see some play in certain scenarios. Next up, we have Light Up the Night, which is red and X. It's a sorcery. Light Up the Night deals X damage to any target. It deals X plus 1 damage instead if that target is a creature or planeswalker. Flashback 3 red. Remove X loyalty counters from among planeswalkers you control. If you cast the spell this way, X can't be 0. Okay.
So basically, it's a blaze that deals 1 extra damage to a creature or planeswalker, and you're pretty much never going to flash it back because why would you want to remove a bunch of shit from your planeswalkers?
That seems really dumb. I was reading that flashback, like, why would you do this?
Yeah, so like you're never going to flash it back. It's basically blaze. That's literally what this card is.
Yeah, it's
like
it's
1x damage one time. You're never going to flash it back. In Super Friends, maybe, but I don't know why you would. Like, why would you want that?
I can't.
Unless it was like you have 6 planeswalkers out, and you're like, I'm going to remove all my loyalty to shoot someone to death. Well, at that point, you probably already won the game because you have 6 planeswalkers out.
Exactly. You have better. You can probably do much better things with those resources than just using up their loyalty to do damage.
It's literally just going to be blaze. That's what that is.
And of course, as those cards are, those are whatever. It's just fine. It's you get exactly what you pay for.
All right, so the next card is Ludwig Necrogenius, blue and a black for a 2/3 legendary human wizard. With when it enters the battlefield or attacks, mill a card. And then it has pay X, blue, black, exile X creature cards from your graveyard, transform Ludwig. X cannot be 0, activate this only as a sorcery. And then it flips into a 4/4 with, as this creature transforms into Oleg Ludwig's Hubris, it becomes a copy of a creature card exiled with it, except its name is Oleg Ludwig's Hubris. It's a 4/4. It's a legendary blue and black zombie in addition to its other colors and types, and put a number of 1/1 counters on Oleg equal to the number of creature cards exiled with it.
Huh.
So it's a 2 for a 2/3. You're going to keep milling yourself, and then you're going to pay at least 5 mana to flip it into a 4/4 copy of something, or a 5/5 copy of something because it gets a 1/1 counter. Or if you have a shitload of cards in your graveyard, you could pay, but like you're going to pay a shit. Like, say you pay 10 mana for this. That's a lot of mana.
Yeah,
I'm thinking. And then it's a 6, so a 10/10 copy of something.
Yeah, I'm like trying, like there's a lot of like caveats with this to make it work that I don't know if it's worth it.
I really don't think it's that good because I think most of the time to even make this playable, you're going to be paying 5 for its last part, and then you're going to have a 4/4 copy. Then you're going to have a 5/5 copy of something, which is whatever.
5 for a 5/5 is very basic.
Yeah, so unless the card you're copying better be super good, yeah.
You better be copying like Kakusho or something at that point.
If you're playing a self-mill deck or something, I could see you playing this as just a 2 for a 2/3 that mills and never flip it.
I could see that. That would be about it, though. Like, I would never want to flip this. It's way too much mana.
Yeah. I mean, if you somehow create infinite mana with like that, what is it? The combo that does that.
Yeah, like
the blue combo that does it. Deadeye Navigator combo. you could make it something extremely outrageous, but like, is that even worth it at that point?
Like, there's so much better things you can do in an infinite mana combo. Like win the game.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna win the game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they're just gonna. Oh, sweet! You have a 2020 copy of whatever your best creature is. Okay,
All right, Doomblade.
Yeah, well, non-black,
dead.
but like, so it's gonna be like Path to Exile. Okay, shit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
One mana for your like 5,000 that you paid. Okay, that was a good trade-off.
Yeah, this card's just bad.
Yeah, not great. Next up we have Malevolent Hermit. It is 1 and a blue, for a 2/1 human wizard creature, that has pay a blue, sacrifice Malevolent Hermit, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 3, and then it has Disturb, pay 2 and a blue, which is you may cast this card from your graveyard transformed for its Disturb cost, and its transform side is called Benevolent Geist. It's a 2/2 spirit wizard creature with flying. Non-creature spells you control can't be countered. If Benevolent Geist would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead.
So I think the flip side of this is pretty good because your non-creature spells can't be countered. It's a 2/2 flyer.
Yep.
The front side is kind of situational. I mean, in Commander, I guess you could probably just the first non-creature spell it's played, just sack this to it.
Yeah, it's basically like what is that? Memory lapse, or whatever that is. That's they have to pay 3 or whatever, or is that Force Spike?
Mana leak.
Oh, Mana Leak, yeah.
Yeah, so
which is fine.
It's a fine card, but like you want the backside. Is definitely what you want.
Yeah, the backside is.
It might even be better just to play this card in your deck and then pitch it to the graveyard with some loot effect, and then just play the backside.
Yeah,
like that's probably the better route to go.
Yeah,
because 2/2 flyer that all your non-creature spells can't be countered is good.
That's much better, and especially for the cost, like that's not a bad cost at all. That's pretty good.
But I mean, worst case, you play 2 for 2/1, and you just, like I said, if you hit something with it, it's not bad.
Yeah,
hit some non-creature with it. It's good in standard.
Yeah, definitely good in standard.
All right, next card is Mask of Gristlebrand. 1 black for a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature has flying and lifelink, and whenever equipped creature dies, you may pay X life, where X is its power. If you do, draw X cards. The equip cost is 3.
So it's literally just baby Gristlebrand.
Yeah, you basically turn any creature into Gristlebrand, kind
of. That seems pretty nice.
I don't know if it's worth playing because the equip cost is 3. I don't know.
That is a high equip cost.
It seems playable, but 6 mana just to. I mean, if I play this, say I play this at Kakusho, I pay 6 mana. Well, 3 mana once, 3 mana to equip it to my Kakusho. It gains lifelink, and then when it dies, I can pay 5 life, draw 5 cards, which isn't that great.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's good for card draw, but there's better black card draw.
If you have like SFM in the deck, sure, but outside of that, that's a lot of mana you have to pay to equip it.
It could be good in the dedicated equipment deck if you play the black version, the black, white, red version, the Knights deck. Because then you can pay 0 to equip it, and then it's pretty good because flying lifelink, draw a bunch of cards is pretty good.
Exactly.
But unless you have some way to cheapen that equip cost, I don't see it.
Yeah. So you need like a Stoneforge or something pretty much in my opinion, for this to really be worth it, because if you want to play it the same turn, you got to pay 6. That's a lot of mana. So I don't know.
Yeah, like if you're paying 6 for this, your creature you want it to be at least a 6/6.
Yeah, your creature better be big.
Yeah. So
let's see. Was it my turn? Or I forgot. Sorry. Okay. Next up, we have Memorly Deluge. It is 2 blue for an instant. That says, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast this spell. Put 2 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Flashback, 5 blue.
So the first time it's going to be 4 to the top 4 cards, put 2 of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom. And the next one's going to be look at 7, put 2 in your hand, the rest in the bottom.
Right, so
that's not that bad.
It's not bad, but you're clearly looking for something specific if you're playing this. It's kind of like what's that?
Like the flashback
Delve card?
Well, yeah, the flashback is dig through time.
Yeah, dig through time. Delve. Yeah. But you don't have.
But I do like that the 4 for look at 4 cards, pick 2 is not bad.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's
the flashback. It's like whatever.
Yeah, like without like the delve of dig through time, it's very mediocre for sure.
It's decent. Like if you need a budget version of that card.
Yeah, it's a budget version.
Or you just want that effect like 2 more times.
Yeah.
So.
But it's what it does. It's pretty good. So. Yeah. Definitely playable.
All right, so the next card is Old Stick Fingers. It's X black-green for a legendary creature Horror. When you cast the spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creatures revealed this way into your graveyard, then put the rest from the bottom in random order. Old Stick Fingers' power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard.
Alrighty then.
So this could be good.
Yeah, I mean,
if you have a self-milled deck, right, or a dredge deck or something, you could just pay 2, and this is equal to the number of creature cards already in there.
Yeah, I mean,
and pay 0 for X, and then you have like a 5/5 or a 6/6.
Yeah, it's like your typical horror, card that like.
I think it could be a fun commander too, because you could just keep freaking milling yourself.
Yeah,
and it's gonna get bigger every time.
Yeah, this seems like, and then of course this is great for a black deck because you have creatures in your graveyard, and that's usually what you want.
I think it's pretty fun as a green-black card,
for sure,
especially in like a dredge type of deck.
Yeah, so it's basically like a free entomb or whatever. Yeah, it's free dredging, so you can just bring stuff back with reanimate or whatever. Just cheat stuff in, and then he's a big boy in himself. So yeah, I mean,
it's pretty good with the graveyard deck.
This is a graveyard deck's dream right here, for sure. Next up, we have yet another land. It's called Overgrown Farmland. It is the green-white one, which is it comes into play tapped unless you control 2 or more of the lands, and you tap it for green and white. So, great land, just like the other ones.
Let's see. Next is Patrician Geist, 2 and a blue for a 2/2 Spirit Knight with flying. Other spirits you control get +1/+1, and spells you cast from your graveyard cost 1 less to cast.
All right, so a spirit deck, this would be good for sure.
Good in a spirit deck. It's also good if you have a flashback deck because it costs 1 less to cast them in your graveyard.
Which they're in this set. There's been a lot of flashback cards.
Worst case, it's 3 for a 2/2 flyer. That's not bad either.
Yeah, not bad at all. That's very.
I think it's a good card.
That's very doable. Card. Very solid, and it's very good in mono blue. Very good in really anything that has to deal with the graveyard or spirits. So definitely a lot of potential. Next up, we have an old favorite. This is if anyone ever has played Magic, you'll know this card. It's called Piving Needle. It costs 1. It's an artifact. As Piving Needle enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Obviously, this is a legacy card.
Well, it's a sideboard for modern.
Or sideboard card,
standard. It's It's like one of the best sideboard cards for any format.
Yeah,
like literally, you could shut off a planeswalker. You could shut off some ability off that's hurting you.
Yeah, so obviously this is a reprint of a very good card. So obviously we will see it. There's no question there.
All right, the next card is Reckless Storm Seeker. It's 2 and a red for a 2/3 human werewolf. With the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. And that's the day side. And then the night side is it's a 3/4 werewolf. With the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 trample and haste until end of turn.
All right. So you can. Okay, so it's every turn you can assign it to something.
Yeah, I think it's good. Every turn you're giving whatever you played this turn +1/+0 and haste. At the worst, at the best, it's getting +2/+0 trample haste.
That's.
I think it's good.
The The nighttime side especially is very good.
Yeah, I think it's very good in like a red aggro deck. Very, very good.
And it's 3/4/2/3 or 3/4/3/4. So those
right,
are good
and
stats.
the turn you play it, you could choose itself.
Yep, yeah, you can.
So you 3/3 that turn. That attacks right away with haste. It's pretty good.
That's pretty awesome. That's funny that you can target itself. That's pretty great. All right, next up we have Rem Carlos, or let me try that again. Rem Carlos Stalwart Slayer. Wow, that is a hard name to say. It sure is. It is 1 red/white for a 2/3 human knight legendary creature with flying and haste. If a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent you control, prevent that damage. If a spell would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1 instead.
So this is solid, good card. I think this is like a baby Gisela.
Yeah, very, very playable for sure, especially in command or in a standard.
And I don't know if I would play it as a commander at all, but
yeah, I could maybe see it
in a red-white deck.
In a deck for sure. Commander, it's pretty weak, but it definitely playable just as a normal card.
All right, so the next card is Rite of Harmony. It's a white and a green. For whenever a creature or enchantment enters the battlefield in your control this turn, draw a card. It's an instant, and flashback for 2 white-green. So this is Glimpse, but for 1 extra mana, it costs white. Yep. And it also triggers on enchantments, and then you could flash it back for 4 mana.
I could definitely see this being played a lot.
Yeah, I think this can be busted in an Enchantress deck or an Elf deck or even a token deck because it's just creature enters the battlefield. So you could put tokens into play and draw a boatload of cards.
Yeah, because we know how bonkers Glimpse can get in an Elf deck. This
seems really busted in your wrist deck because you're just going to be like, oh, create a bunch of elves, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card.
Yeah, you're drawing like this is gonna replace some of my other card draw probably because this is literally it just triggers as a trigger ability. Because I think the cards that I have to pay, I think, to draw. And this is it just happens.
Yeah, so you're just gonna have 1 explosive turn.
Yeah, which definitely seems good for sure. Lots of potential there. Next up we have the red-green dual land, which is called Rockfall Vale, and it adds red and green, and just like the other ones, it comes into play tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands.
Yep, solid dual land.
Yep.
All right, so the next card is Seraph the Viper's Fang. 2 green for a 3/4 legendary creature, human warlock. And it says, other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof, and pay 1 and tap it to untap another target creature or land you control.
Okay, that's an interesting play on like the creature positions on the field.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way you could build a deck where you're just constantly changing the position of your creatures. That'd be kind of cool.
There's got to be a way.
Commander. Otherwise, I think it's very good in Death Touch Tribal or in the Finn deck, Finn the Fangbearer deck, because it gives all of your stuff Death Touch when it attacks, and then Finn, when they deal damage, will do poison counters. So
right, which is very good.
And then it's nice that if they're untapped, they have hexproof, so they can't blow them up.
Right. So like if you have creatures with vigilance, that's very good because you literally can't target them then.
Right, but then you don't get the Death Touch either.
You don't get the Death Touch, but yeah.
It also is very good if you have a green-black deck on that. Like the Death Fang guy, that whenever a Death Touch creature attacks, they lose life, you gain life.
Right, yeah.
Because all their stuff will have Death Touch. You just swing with a bunch of things, and they lose a bunch of life, you gain a bunch of life. Yeah, but that's like the Death Touch Tribal deck, so.
Definitely good, and especially if you have creatures with Trample. You know how the Death Touch Trample, combo is. It's disgusting. So you can have something with Trample, and you have this and play with it, and you're set. You just kill everything.
Yep.
Next up, we have the blue-black dual land called Shipwreck Marsh that adds a blue or black, and it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more of the lands. So another solid land.
Another solid land. Our next card is Cigar Splendor, 2 white enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, note your life total. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if your life total is greater than or equal to the last noted life total. Then note your life total again. Whenever you cast a white spell, you gain 1 life.
Interesting. Okay.
So this just sounds like a lot of freaking note taking, because you're gonna need like a pen and paper, and anytime you play this, you got to note your life, and then in your upkeep you get to draw another card if you gained more life. So life gain deck like Orloro, this is probably pretty good because you can draw a card every turn, but it's gonna be really freaking annoying because you got to keep writing down your life total.
It is a lot of note taking.
So I think it's just so annoying I won't play it, but it's pretty good if you play a life gain deck and need card draw.
Yeah, it's fine in a life gain deck, but that's it. And I don't want to have to keep track of if I gain life or not every turn because that's annoying.
Right, and you just have to note it when you gain life when you trigger this effect each time, because it's just annoying. So it's gonna be once a turn you have to note it, but it's still like okay. So
yeah, it's okay, but I don't know. I'm probably not gonna play it though. Next up, we have Siphon Insight, which is blue-black for an instant that says, look at the top 2 cards of target opponent's library. Exile one of them face down and put the other on the bottom of that library. You may look at and play the exile card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. And then it has flashback, 1 blue-black. So another little steal a card and play it if you want, I guess.
Yeah, it's a solid card. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It's a solid card.
Yeah.
You could whiff on it, hit 2 lands, and then it's horrible.
Yeah, then you
could hit something good, and then it's good. So it's okay.
You find like they're like WinCon or something. Then maybe
if you like that effect, it's good.
Yeah.
All right, next card is Slaughter Specialist. 1 and a black for a 3/3 Vampire Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent creates a 1/1 white human creature token. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1 swing counter on it.
2 for a 3/3 is nice for sure. And then you're creating tokens.
2 for a 3/3, but you're giving tokens to your opponent.
It's opponent, sorry.
So you're 2, because it's a 3/3 for 2, you're giving tokens to your opponents, but then every time something of theirs dies, this gets bigger. Right. So this can get out of hand, especially if you play this and then give everything -1/-1.
This can get out of hand extremely fast. For sure.
I think it's decent if you have a way that their tokens don't matter. So
yeah. Which and they're only 1/1s, they won't matter that much anyway, I don't think. And it also is fodder for this to get bigger too. So in a way it is a good thing.
Right.
But it's very good early game card for sure, like aggro card.
Late game this is gonna be terrible.
Late game it doesn't do shit, but but this can definitely snowball. Next up, we have Slo Gerk the Overslime, who is which costs 1 green-blue for a 3/3 legendary ooze creature with trample. And whenever a land card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on Slo Gerk the Overslime. Remove 3 +1/+1 counters from him. Return it to its owner's hand. When Slo Gerk leaves the battlefield, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so this could be good with like a landfall deck or something like that.
Yep, as another blue-green land matters deck. It's good. You're going to play in all the decks that you play that already. Civic land stuff.
Yeah, definitely land utility card for sure. Very good in that kind of deck.
Next card is Sludge Monster. 3 for a 3 blue. So 3 and 2 blues for a 5/5 horror. When Sludge Monster enters the battlefield or attacks, put a slime counter on up to one other target creature. Non-horror creatures with slime counters on them lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 2/2.
All right, so this is how you deal with commanders.
Yeah, this seems pretty good. It seems like a mini. It feels like a Frost Titan almost.
Yeah.
Because when you attack or at ETB, you get to make something at 2/2 no abilities, which is better almost than tapping it down.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
I think it's good. I think it's going to be like the blue, similar to like the blue Titan. It's pretty good. It's
Yeah,
playable.
it is kind of
5 for 5/5 is good already. So
because the Titans are 6, if I remember right.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely good. Very good card. Next up, we have Smoldering Egg, which is 1 red for a 0/4 Dragon Egg creature that had with Defender. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of Ember counters on Smoldering Egg equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Then, if Smoldering Egg has 7 or more Ember counters on it, remove them and transform Smoldering Egg. And it transforms into Ashmouth Dragon, which is a 4/4 dragon creature with flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Ashmouth Dragon deals 2 damage to any target.
So, to me, this is like the new thing in the ice for blue-red spells decks.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then when it transforms, you have a 4/4 flying gutter snipe.
Yep.
So I think it's good. It's good for standard. I don't know if you have like a gutter snipe deck, you might play it.
Yeah, it'd be good in that specific deck archetype.
Yep, spells matters decks.
Yep. Outside of that, it's not great.
All right, the next card is Storm the Festival. 3 and green. So 3 greens, so 6 mana. Sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put up to 2 permanent cards with mana value 5 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and it has flashback for 7 green, which is 10 mana.
Holy crap, that's so much mana.
Yeah, I don't think this is good just because like I would rather play Tooth and Nail or Genesis Wave or something versus having to get 2 things that cost 5 or less. Like if you're going to put this in the deck, you're going to want 75% of your deck to cost 5 or less. And in which case is 6 for 2 of them even that good?
This might be good in standard, but outside of that, I'm not playing this card.
Yeah,
I'd much rather play Genesis Wave or Tooth and Nail or something else like that for sure. It's just too easy to whiff, and with that much mana, that's just not good. Then you cry a lot. Next up, we have Sun Gold Sentinel, which is 1 white for a 3/2 human soldier creature. With whenever Sun Gold Sentinel enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. And then it has Coven with 1 white that you have to pay. Choose a color. Sun Gold Sentinel gains hexproof from that color until end of turn and can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. Activate only if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers.
It's good in White Weenie.
Yep, White Weenie card. That's pretty much what this is made for.
Next card is Suspicious Stowaway, 1 and a blue, 1/1, human rogue werewolf. Suspicious Stowaway can't be blocked. Whenever Suspicious Stowaway deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. That's its day side. Its night side is a green Seafaring Werewolf that can't be blocked. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. It's a 2/1.
Not bad. Nice.
It's a solid card. Unblockable draw guy.
Yeah. It's just it draws you cards and it can't be blocked, so that's pretty nice. It's kind of like the new Thieving Magpie from like way back when. So yeah, definitely a nice early game, kind of getting the game going for you. Getting you ahead.
I think it's pretty good in a rogue deck too. So
definitely. Next up we have the Celestus, which costs 3 colorless. It's a legendary artifact. If it's neither day or night, it becomes day as the Celestus enters the battlefield. tap to add 1 mana of any color, and then 3 and tap it. If it's night, it becomes day. Otherwise, it becomes night. Activate only as a sorcery. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you gain 1 life. You may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So this is your making the day or night be what you want here. Pretty much.
So I think this is only good if you're playing a deck that revolves around day and night. Otherwise, it's terrible.
Yeah, that's the only thing you're using this for sure.
All right, the next card is Tolvalar, Dire Overlord. 1 red-green, legendary creature, 3/3, human werewolf. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves or werewolves, it becomes night, then transform any number of human werewolves you control. That's its day side. Then the night side is the 4/4. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And pay X red-green, target wolf or werewolf you control gets plus X plus 0 and trample until end of turn.
That is not bad as far as that's kind of like
I think it's super
spell
good.
That does that, right? I can't remember, but yeah,
I don't know. It's super good if you want werewolf tribal, like wolf
it's
werewolf tribal. You're literally just gonna flip them all, and then every time anything you control deals damage to something, you're gonna draw a card. That's good.
Yep, that seems very good. And then the buffing on the night side is awesome, and gaining shit. Trample
there's a land that does that. Yeah, it's like that. Land.
Yeah, that's very good. Having that in a creature is awesome. Great tribal card for sure. Outside of that, it's whatever. But yeah, very good, and it's in that specific environment for sure. Next up, we have Tovlar's Huntsmaster. It is a 4 green for a 6/6 human werewolf creature. When Tovalar's Huntmaster enters the battlefield, create 2 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. That's his day side. And then his nightbound side is Tovalar's Pack Leader, which is a 7/7 werewolf creature. When Tovalar's Pack Leader enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. And then it has 2 pay 2 green. Another target wolf or werewolf you control fights target creature you don't control. This is a pretty good card, and again, a tribal deck like that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to go in the Tovalar deck because it's his Huntmaster.
Yeah.
Also, if you just need to make a boatload of wolf tokens for some reason, that's a decent card.
Yeah,
it's definitely going to go in the tribal deck.
Yeah, it's definitely a little pricey though as far as like token decks go, but great.
I mean, it's still 6 for a 6/6 and 2 2/2s. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it's 6. That's 6 for 10 power split up.
It's good for what you're getting for sure, but it is a lot. But great for definitely good for the tribal. Like,
it's very good if it's nighttime when you play it.
Oh yeah, that is an awesome nighttime card. That provoke ability is very nice.
All right, the next card is Triskaidekaphile. Pay 1. It's a 1 and blue, so 1 and blue, so 2 mana total for a 1/3 human wizard. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game, and it has pay 4, draw a card.
Oh, that's funny. So, is it good? Probably not, but it's
not bad though, because 4 draw a card isn't that bad in blue.
4 draw a card's not bad.
But you're probably not going to win with the win clause, but 2 to not have a max size too is not bad.
Yeah, it's basically 2 to have a spell book and also 2 draw cards, which isn't bad. You're probably not going to win with it, though.
Yeah, you're probably not going to win. You could, but you're probably not.
You could, yeah. Unlikely for sure. Next up, we have Unnatural Growth, which is 1 and 4 greens, so 5 total CMC for an enchantment. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. This is a green dream right here.
Yeah, this card is busted and limited. So everything's
for
double
sure.
deck combat. If for some reason you have this in a deck and you have like a creature that's stronger than a 2/2 out, it's going to be really significant because your 3/3 is 6/6.
Yeah.
Your 4/4 is an 8/8. Your 5/5 is a 10/10. Like, it's absurd if you get to 3 or higher power creature out with this.
Yeah, this is a win con.
And it's each combat, so it's like on your turn and your opponent's turn, it's doubled. So it's basically when you're in combat, they're doubled, and then when you're not, they can kill it off with minus or something.
Right, but as long as you're in combat, you're pretty much winning this game.
Yeah, it is a good card. It's hard to play outside of just green decks, though, because it costs 4 green.
Yeah, it's a lot of green mana, for sure. Great for, like, Commander, too, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Next card is Vadric Astral Archmage. 1, a blue and a red for a 1/2 legendary creature human wizard. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day when the Archmage enters the battlefield. And then instant and sorcery spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is his power. And whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, put a puzzle swing counter on it.
All right.
So I think it's solid in a Spells Matter deck.
It's a Spells Matter.
That old Izzet deck that gave you experience counters, this would be fine as like a in the 99 of that, probably.
Yeah. Outside of that, not much going on here, but yeah, good for spells. Next up, we have what's called Vanquish the Horde. It is 6 white for a sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. Destroy all creatures. Not bad if there's a lot of creatures in play and you don't want them in play anymore.
I think it's pretty easy to have at least 4 creatures out in Commander.
Oh, for sure.
And then that would be like the worst case scenario. So if there's 4 creatures out, this is a Wrath of God.
Yeah.
Or a Day
I
of
think
Judgment.
this is.
But if there's 6 creatures out, this costs 2 mana. This is really good against tokens, too.
Very
if someone plays Avengers Undercard, you're like, okay, board wipe for 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it is a very
solid board wipe.
Yeah, like it's easy. I'd say this is easier to do than Martial Coup.
Oh, definitely easier.
Like, this is a pretty solid card.
Like, this is probably the one that I put in behind Wrath of God and Day of Judgment.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, this is probably like the 3rd best one, unless I'm missing one. But this is pretty good. I'd put this in a white, especially a mono white deck. If it's not mono white, there might be some other ones that are better. But
yeah, it's
white deck
up
is
there.
good.
This is
it's a good board wipe.
In pretty much most scenarios, this is a very cheap board wipe, which is what we like to see.
Yeah, in the scenario where you can't cast it, it's basically like, well, you probably don't want to cast it because there's nothing in play.
Exactly.
All right, next card is Wake to Slaughter. It's 3 black-red. Choose up to 2 creature cards in your graveyard. An opponent chooses one of them, return the card they chose to your hand, and return the other card to the battlefield at your control, gains haste, and exile it at the end step. It has flashback for 6.
Okay, so this is kind of like another Factor Fiction kind of card here.
Well, I think it's good because you get 1 creature in your hand and 1 into play. So you're going to choose your best 2 creatures, obviously, in your graveyard.
Obviously.
And then they're going to have to pick which one they want only around for 1 turn. Because the other one is going to stick around because it's going to be in your hand.
It costs a lot, though, I will say.
It does cost a lot of mana, so I don't know if you're going to be playing it that often, unless you're playing like a loot deck or a madness type deck. It might be pretty good, like the Angie deck where you're just pitching stuff constantly. Then you can maybe cast this and just get 2 really big things back.
Yeah. But it's okay. I don't know.
It's an okay card. It does cost a lot of mana.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of mana to play.
I just like the returning cards to battlefield part of it.
Yeah,
because that's my
always
play style.
That is your thing for sure. Let's see. Next up, we have Willowgeist. It is 1 green for a 1/1 Treefolk spirit creature with trample. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Willowgeist. When Willowgeist dies, you gain life equal to its power. Okay, so this is like if you're bringing stuff out of your graveyard, it gets bigger.
Yeah, so I think this is a pretty good 1-drop for green. I think it's better in decks that are more than just mono green, because
this is great with black.
If you're like black and you bring something back, you can put a +1 counter on it, or you can exile cards from your graveyard and then get a +1 counter on it. Or if you're playing white and you play like Rest in Peace or something, or those no, I don't know, because then I don't think they leave, do they? Well, everything that's in the graveyard currently they do, but anything else wouldn't.
So the initial exile will hit everything.
Right, but I don't think anything after that would.
Mm-hmm. No.
But it's still solid, because at the worst, it's a 1/1 with trample that you gain life when it dies for 1 mana.
Yep.
Like, it's not that bad.
Not bad at all.
I'd play it. I'd play the card.
Yeah, it's definitely playable for sure.
And I think that's all the rares. I think we finally got through them all.
Yeah, we made it. That was the last one.
One other thing to note, Delver was reprinted in the set, so if you guys need Delver, now is the time to pick them up.
Yeah, they'll be nice and cheap.
Reprinted as uncommon. Yes, nice and cheap. There's also a few other decent uncommons that if you play tribal decks, you might want to pick up, but they'll be really cheap too. Thank you guys for listening today. James, where can they find you?
I am the Puma Man, which is spelt in Leet, so the E's are 3s and the A's are 4s, and I am on Twitter and I am on Twitch under that handle.
All right, and we just launched our Patreon, so if you want to support the content of this podcast and help us build more content, go and check us out on the Patreon. You can go. We have different tier levels. We have $1, $5, $20, $35, and you got some give you merch. They all give you access to our Discord as a special Patreon role, so you can chat with us. They can give you ad-free episodes and a bunch of other cool stuff. We also have a Discord that is live for all things Magic. It's free to join, but again, if you're a Patreon, you get that Patreon role, so you like priority chat with us, and you can ask us questions and stuff more often. Like basically, we'll talk to you first before we go into the general chat, and then that's at Patreon/MTG Place, and then the Discord is the MTG Place Discord. It'll be in the show notes, and I have a website up, which is mtgplace.wixsite.com, which is kind of in beta right now, but it's a website that is up. You can check it out. Thanks for listening. All that stuff will be in the show notes, and again, thanks for listening, and comment your favorite card from this set.
Thank you very much, guys.
Have a good night.